aggressively making men sad. Okay, I won't delete the men this time. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Even though they totally deserve it after if you've been paying attention to the sci-fi fantasy writing community as
Mm-hmm.
of late, where all male writers, oh
Hi,
hi,
Bones.
have collectively shown their hand. Well, I guess they're not the ones showing their hands. Hi, that's a deep topic.
Very heavy
Hi,
topic.
hello. We're going to be critiquing your art this stream. Um, and it's going to be the patron arts. And the patron arts, that sounds like a type of art, but like art of our patrons. So whenever someone's in the stream and they're like, how do you get the art critiqued? You have to be a patron. I have writing to critique. I'm going to do that at the end. Not V, the
It's
other
not
one.
V.
Yeah, that one. Well, because I know it bores you, people who don't get to see everyone else's pretty art. Because being a writer means being constantly thrown to the side, as men should be.
God damn it.
I feel like every time I go to do a stream, it's like right after I read a comment about me saying delete all men, because it's like progressively gotten worse. Like, because people like didn't know that it was a joke, and at first they didn't realize I meant it referred to The Sims, where I just don't like playing men in The Sims, so I just delete them on site. And then I was like, you know what, let's delete all men in general because men kind of suck. But like I think okay, this is for all the fragile men and those of us who know men. I've never met one personally, but for all of you who think men can be okay, I don't blame you. But
We've all been fooled before.
right. Oh my god, no
Uh,
boys allowed. Exactly. They see my no boys allowed sign and they're like, "Wow, that's rude. What have men ever doomed?
Dude.
What have they done to us?" Man, if only they knew, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first off,
Okay.
cis men are out. That's what I basically wanted to say. Trans men are fine.
Yeah.
I thought it would be rude for me to say that as a trans man to like just let myself in the club, but I've yet to see like dozens of trans men get outed as creeps in the industry. So
True.
I think we're pretty good with what we got. Goodbye. Have a nice day. Oh no. Hello. No boys allowed.
Gaiman,
Yeah,
you're walking a fine line.
okay. So, for the most part, gay men can stay, but we'll have to see. We'll have
It's just the cis. We're just bad.
I don't know what it is specifically. On
Uh,
on thin ice, exactly. Okay, if you're a man and you're willing to call out other men, I guess you can stay too.
yeah.
Okay? Yeah. But you're not allowed in my Sims game because I don't have any custom content made for you.
That is a problem with The Sims. There's no custom content for the men and the
Yeah,
boys.
exactly. Like there's some, but there's just not enough. There's like tons of stuff for girls. So I just don't like playing as the men. Like that's the actual truth of it. And then it gets tied into the fact that like all the abuse in the industry. Like
Mm-hmm.
comics right now is like huge pop. Anyways, this is a critique stream,
Anyways,
not a chat stream. We can talk about like systemic problems in the comic industry later. But basically, stay in the queer half of comics, and you'll all be good. It's
hell
nice
yeah.
here.
Okay, so yeah, today we're doing some critiques of some art and some writing and some comic pages.
Hell yeah.
So who would like to be my
The first
first
victim. Victim in The
delete their
Sims.
soul?
Case by
Okay.
case basis in The Sims. There's no content in general for men in The Sims. Okay. I thought you meant just in life.
Wait,
There's no
okay.
content for men.
None.
I
Okay.
mean, true, right? Like, being a man is such a downgrade.
What?
I just mean in like sorry, I lost my words, but like I actually mean like going from like the women's section to the men's section is a downgrade. That's what I
Oh.
meant. Like content wise. There's like nothing to wear as a dude that's interesting.
True. You get one style.
Yeah, and women get to wear men's clothes. It's just unfair. Okay?
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
You get pockets. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
You get more functional clothes, but like there's less of a barrier stopping women from wearing men's clothes than there is for men wearing women's
We
clothes.
need to break down that barrier. I think men
Agreed.
should be able to wear skirts and not have to question their masculinity.
Yeah.
Listen.
It's true. Like this is all part of patriarchy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, poor men. We get fake pockets. No, it's really sucks. You just have 5 different plaid shirts you can wear and different graphic tees.
Yep.
Like, it really sucks
You
going
don't-
into the men's section.
You
Like,
don't get bright colors. You don't get patterns. You don't
Oh
get
my
like
God,
different
yes.
kinds of fabric.
yes. Here is your pant, and here is your thing, all right? Boys in skirts is 10 out of 10 approved. Exactly.
Hell yeah.
My brother wears dress, and he's cis and straight. That's
Hell
cool.
Yeah. That's
But there's
powerful.
more of a barrier to doing that. Like,
Yeah.
I'd honestly be scared to do that. You know? In
Yeah.
Italy, it's illegal to wear a skirt as a man.
Oh
Jesus.
my God.
Boys in dresses, please. Yeah, I'm a big stand for boys in dresses. But, like being... Presenting as a girl and wearing, like, male clothes was way less scary than the other way around. Society's sad. Agreed. Okay, we were totally off topic. Okay, we can have a fun... just beautiful Pride Month topic later. I think it's valid for men to wear dresses and feminine clothes, and they can wear pink and stuff. But it just sucks. And I agree that women should have pockets, and that is also caused by the same issue. Okay, men aren't allowed to look beautiful, and I think men should be beautiful princesses.
Hell yeah.
Okay, there, I said it. And if you're a girl, you don't have to care about what you look like. Okay, that also is cool.
Hell yeah.
And corsets are good.
Yeah.
Men ruin them.
Men ruin the corsets,
Yeah.
creating that myth. Of
Men just don't understand women's clothing.
It's just baffling.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, okay.
Anyways,
Okay, we're never gonna get this done. Ursula has cramps.
I do. I'm suffering. I'm not suffering that much.
Oh yeah, happy Pride. Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
Pride. Hell yeah.
One wonderful wholesome rant to walk in on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Things have just been wild and
Yeah.
oh no, I know. Okay, if none of y'all are gonna volunteer to be first, I'm gonna volunteer Ace because I see your name here.
Hell yeah.
I also
Corsets.
saw Sketchy Bagel, but your stuff will be at the end because you submitted the writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Men always be like, man, that clothes you're wearing is oppressive. I'm gonna ban it and pick something else for you.
Thanks, man.
That's like the history of women's clothing.
Thanks,
It's-
guys.
Men are like, wow, corsets, how horrible.
I volunteered? Okay, cool.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm claiming that I volunteered you, so
Someone
it
volunteered.
was my idea, Ace.
Wait, don't you guys do your patrons only? Yeah, Ace is a patron.
Yep. Oh god, can you imagine if I just called someone out in the audience and it's like, send me your art now?
Yes.
That would be horrifying. Okay. So this is one of the couples from a couple of my comic characters' designs. Pearson Miles. I remember these guys. They're so cute. I'm not 100% settled on them yet. I think I'm getting closer to how I want them to look. These are their hero uniforms, though they're mostly fashion over function. Bless.
Same.
See, boys should be able to dress for fashion over function.
Exactly. And
Just
girls
like
can
Girls can.
have function over fashion if they want.
Hell yeah.
So get in on this.
Listen. Critique for the overall designs and the vibes they give off. Color schemes would also be appreciated. And how do they work together? Okay. So, looking at these lovely designs. Okay. So, color wise, I think they're fantastic. I love how you've made their uniforms based off of the blue, and I guess it's like a black or like a dark navy blue and then like the lighter blue. But they each have their own like color running through it. So for Pierce, is that his name? I've immediately forgotten. Pierce. Like I like how you've got the red going through, which matches his hair, and it's in his tattoo. And I like how for Miles you have the yellow going through, which has these little highlights on his uniform and with his hair and stuff. And I think that is a fantastic choice because it brings their uniforms together, it makes them look like they're on a team, but they each have their own like unique little pop to it. Bones, get out of the chat.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay. Right. Shape wise, I think like with all of your designs, you have a very good sense of like showing off like a specific shape per character. I like how Pierce is very like sharp and angular, whereas Miles is a lot more like soft and rounder shapes.
Made outfits, yes.
Yes. I kind of would be interested in seeing. I don't know if it would be too much for Pierce, but maybe seeing the red highlighted within his outfit in the same way that like Miles has it within his outfit. Because it looks like with Pierce, the only red is his hair and his tattoo. So maybe bringing in some kind of red little flair to his outfit would kind of make it feel a little bit more cohesive. I think.
Ursula thinking noise.
Okay. As for their vibes, so Pierce seems very like cool and kind of snooty.
It's definitely hard because we've seen so many iterations.
That's true.
So we have preconceived notions.
Totally. He in this iteration with his uniform and stuff, I think it's the tattoo and the glove that's doing it, but I feel like he's gonna ride a motorbike off into the sunset like a cool guy and like throw down his little aviator shades.
She keeps looking at me like I'm gonna say something.
As for Miles, so I know they have like powers, right? If I'm recalling correctly. Is that true, Ace? They have like special hero powers or something like that. I can't remember what they are exactly, but I vaguely remember this. Yep. Oh, they do. Okay. So, like, judging from Miles's outfit, I feel like he has ice powers. And I'm thinking that specifically just because he has, like, the fur lining on his jacket and his boots. Where I just associate that with, like, someone who has ice powers. I don't know. Where Pierce, I think it's just because of his hair and because he's got like the pointy shapes. I'm like fire, which would also be a very cute combo of fire and ice. But yeah, for Miles, he seems like spunky and he's got like not grumpy, but like you know that kind of like pouty, energetic type. That's kind of the vibe he gives off. And I like how they both have like a very feminine flair to them. I think a big part of it is the hairstyles because they both have like kind of longer hair. Like I know, you know, their hair is pretty short in comparison to say like super long hair, but like it's very like fashionable and like Pierce's has like a cool shape and stuff. I'm not
Mhm.
100% on Pierce's power, but Miles has telekinesis. Oh, okay. Oh, right. I vaguely remember that.
Same.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
You seem to be floundering on other things to say. Move on to the next one. If
Next
Ace has
one.
more questions, she can ask. Don't worry about it. We have a lot to cover today. I am the arbiter of Zoom.
Yum. The arbiter of Zoom. You're in charge of the Zoom
Yeah,
the Zoom chat room.
exactly.
Okay, the next one is a D&D character from a recent campaign. I was trying out some new shading techniques and also different facial proportion stuff with this one. It's also when I started trying to convey expressions better. I'd like feedback on the design, colors, expression, and shading. Anything
Sounds
else?
like he's going, nya,
Oh my god, yes.
nya.
Nya. Like, nya. Okay.
He's got really 90s hair.
He does. It's the parted in the middle.
90s surfer boy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, everyone was a surfer in the 90s. We all wanted to go to Cali.
Exactly.
We.
Us as tiny
Weast.
babies.
Anyways, keep going.
Okay. Okay. So
We love a middle part.
we do stand a middle part. He's got himbo energy for me. He looks very muscular, and he definitely strikes me as like a pretty boy type. I love the collar. The cat collar has me wildin'. I also really love the fluff texture, like the fluff in the ears, and then as well on like the shoulder vest section, where it feels very like shapely and 3D, I guess. Like it has more form to it, and I think it's due to the way you've shaded it and how like even looking at like the center of this piece of fluff, it's like the forms are followed so that there's like some foreshortening happening in here. So even though this stuff isn't like it doesn't have like these dark lines like say like other parts of the art, they still feel like full and fluffy. I'd recommend adding a bit more contrast into here, like another darker level of shadows just to make them pop even more. But I think you got like a really good start here to creating a more 3D look to things, and I really like it. I think his hair kind of clashes with the fluff. Like I understand like not wanting to make his hair exactly the same as like the fur look if he has more like kind of silky hair or thinner hair. But I think it's just like it could be brought in a bit more, like the same kind of shapes to it, if that makes sense. Just checking the notes. As for his expression, I like it. I think, I mean, like,
it's good. I like it.
shush you. Yeah, I mean, Bones and I could read an expression from it right away. He looks like he looks sleepy or grumpy to me. Yeah, I think you're really pushing the expressions more. They're looking really good.
Any criticisms?
Any criticisms? I was trying to add more dimension to the fluff areas. Trying to add more contrast going forward. Hell yeah. He's a grumpy boy. Okay.
I think you're good.
I think you're good.
Ursula, move on to the next one.
Okay. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm pushing her along.
He's
Scoot,
in charge
scoot.
of the Zoom.
Exactly.
He called the Zoom meeting to order.
Order in the court. It is Bones McKay and his mighty gavel.
Okay.
I love this one.
This one is I'm wildin'. Okay.
It has me wild.
It's so good.
Reminds me of like panty stocking.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Like the really detailed ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, when they get all close up.
Totally. Oh yeah, same kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, lastly
A little bit of host club.
Oh my god,
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
I've been studying the anime.
It's true. Well, you were studying comics. We were studying the art of anime. Okay. I wanted to focus on their expressions and body language. Oh, it's supposed to be like a fake anime screenshot.
Yeah, like it can tell right away.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious. That's in the notes. Forgot Pierce's tattoo. Also, the girl in between Miles and Pierce is Pierce's twin sister, Lenore. They're all in some of their casual clothes. Critique on expressions, body language, design, shading, and anything else. So I think you really captured that anime vibe with the way you've colored this and how you've added kind of like, it looks like a soft kind of gauzy filter over top.
I wish there was a little. Sorry, am I allowed to critique?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wish there was like a slight more definition to the foreground and background, midground. Like they all feel like they're on the same. Like you can obviously tell because he's larger in the front. Pierce is, but like I was just thinking about like how the animes do it, like maybe like a heavier outline in the background or just something to like draw attention to there being different layers to it.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to you, Ursula.
I agree. You could also do some interesting stuff with like maybe blurring the back and keeping the front in focus, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think there could be more definition for Pierce at the front. I love the expressions. They're very cute. I think the colors you used are great. Even though you have, say, like blue, which is like in pretty big contrast to the kind of the orangey pinks that you have going on.
Is it my eyes or is it blurry?
It looks a little bit blurry. Like parts of it look blurred over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just can't tell.
Once it's like, is it my glasses?
No, actually, I am.
Okay. But yeah.
Or my computer screen. You know.
But yeah, but the colors you chose look great. They all feel like they're kind of like harmonized together, just from the hue choice that you've made, which is great. And it makes like it makes Pierce pop quite a bit at the front, with like his bright blue eyes and his shirt and stuff. But the characters in the background also feel like they're in the same scene.
It's got a good sense of movement too.
That too, it does.
And really good composition.
Totally.
Like her bun.
Same. It looks so cute. I do also like the contact between like Miles and the sister. Like they definitely feel like they're on the same plane and like touching, and there's like weight to it and stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. There's definitely a lot of great movement. Like you can see like with her skirt here, it feels like her hips are turned or like she's bringing a leg forward.
I meant more like movement compositionally. Like it feels like everything like kind of swoops you in a circle.
Yeah,
kind
true.
of repeatedly.
Because you go from
the arm. Say.
Yeah, you go from like Pierce, then to the sister, then to Miles, then down to the words, and then the arm brings you back in. So it's great compositionally because it keeps your eye moving around the work.
Yeah, I don't ever feel really trapped in it.
Totally.
Cool. Moving on.
Yeah, great work.
Great work, Ace.
I also like how you've added in like sparkly effects, but they're not like overpowering.
Totally.
Hell yeah, good work.
Any questions, leave them in the question center. But Ursula needs to move on. Who are we going to next?
Ooh, let's see.
Whomst is next?
So we have Kuro, we have Alice.
Kuro, let's go.
Kuro, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Half of them are always late.
That's true.
Okay?
Gosh, guys.
Watch later. I see no one demanding. If someone starts crying in the chat, just leave little crying tears if you want to be the next one instead. But let's go to Kuro.
Okay. Kuro.
You should close the ones that we've already looked at for Ace. Because Ace says thank you, so we should be good.
Cool. Okay, Kuro, can I get a critique on my main supporting characters? The first is Natsuki. He is Maki's younger step. Sorry, oh my god. She is Maki's younger stepsister and his main emotional support.
Same.
Same.
I don't know. It's my go-to answer to everything.
Okay. First off, her design is so cute. I love the hair. I love the color choice. I especially love here how like she's wearing green. Because I know that's like Maki's color and it feels very like cute supportiveness. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, I'd be curious about maybe bringing in more of that. Not necessarily like for her entire design, but maybe in scenes where like she's being really supportive of Maki, bringing in the green more, like integrating it with her outfit. I'm finding the green in this instance, it's clashing a little bit with her colors because she's got this very like cool pinky purple palette, and then the green is very yellowy, like it's a very yellowy green as opposed to like a blue green. So the yellow in the green and the purple in the pink is clashing. So I'd recommend maybe like picking, like just cooling down the green a little bit so it's more blue, just so that it blends better with the purpley-ness of her main colors. Just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I really like her design. It's very cute. Sorry, just taking the rest of the notes. A critique on their design. Maybe what you think their personalities are like. Okay. Okay. As for personality, she seems very like not energetic. She seems just like perky and cheerful. But she also seems like maybe she's like a bit on the quieter side. I like how she's got like a bit of a punk look to her. Like maybe not like super like girly and femme, because you do see her wearing like a button shirt with a tie and like wearing more like a loose hoodie and stuff and like a loose tank top. But you can still see like, you know, she's wearing like tighter pants and she wears pink, and like you can see like you know, she's wearing like a sports bra under the tank instead of having like a form-fitted tank or something. The club color is green because they're the frogs. That's so cute. So she'll wear green for a good bit. Okay. That's cute. I love that. The frogs. But yeah, but I like her punk style. I like her little combat boots and her little weightlifting picture. But yeah, overall, very very cute. I maybe would recommend. I think you've done a really good job with like keeping her colors pretty consistent through everything, because I've seen like she's wearing like grays and pinks and stuff and purples, and they all kind of like feel pretty cohesive to her main colors. I noticed in this first one where it's her standing, these shoes feel kind of desaturated compared to the rest of her, and they feel like they don't quite fit. So maybe just, I honestly think it's just a color issue. I don't think it has to do with like the design of the shoes, but maybe just brightening up the color there would help make them pop and feel more cohesive. But yeah, overall, very, very cute. Very good. Next one. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. I can tell when you're petering off. Next one is Aito. He's Maki's stepdad, and that's biological dad. Maki really doesn't like him, but he's always there. Oh no, that gets me. Make me cry. Okay. Um. Okay. And I think you mentioned. Yeah. Okay. So I love him. This cat hoodie. This dad. Oh my god. I love him. Okay. He's the dad we all deserve. I love the hair. I do love seeing his design next to like his daughter's design. I like the her hair looks like a slightly lighter version of his like darker purple hair. I think that's really cute. I like how they have very cohesive color palettes to each other. I think that's great. I think it's also cool. He stops in the women's section. Hell yeah, he's the dad we deserve. Um, but yeah, but I like how him and the daughter have very like similar colors in contrast to like Mackie, who has more like kind of earthy colors. Um, which I think is a nice contrast to show that kind of like Mackie doesn't quite get along with him yet, which is cool. Uh, but yeah, I love his fashion style. It's a statement. I feel like it says a lot about him as a character. He looks very like cheerful and goofy and a very lighthearted character. And he also looks like he has a very like sweet, supportive side. I love the ponytail as well. 10 out of 10. He looks like a goofball. Yeah, honestly, I love it. I would be excited to see him in the comic, showing off lots of different fun fashions. So yeah, good job. I love it. Uh, for crit- Oh, Vado, you ran too hard. Okay. I guess one thing is he does look like a very young character, and since he is supposed to be like older in his 40s, you might possibly want to do something that maybe shows off his age a bit. Um, whether it's like maybe some wrinkles on him, or maybe like a streak of gray in his hair, something like that, just to show his age a little bit. Um, it might be easier if he's like next to other characters where he's maybe like taller and broader shouldered or something. But yeah, but maybe something that just shows his age a little bit would be helpful. Because I think looking at him, he looks like he's in his 20s to me, if that makes sense. That's him in a nutshell. Hell yeah. Okay. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. He has bags under his eyes a lot of the time. I mean, you don't get wrinkles at 40. I mean, there's some signs of age at 40. Like, you can tell a 40-year-old apart from, like, a 30-year-old, generally.
We weren't talking about wrinkles, just like making older.
Yeah.
Listen, Ursula's getting gray hair at 20.
Listen.
Do you not get wrinkles at 40?
I mean, you don't have, like...
Like, I have wrinkles.
You don't have the wrinkles of, like, an 80-year-old, but you start to have, like, lines around your eyes and your mouth. And, like... your skin looks older.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of 40-year-olds with wrinkles here. Maybe he's just lucky.
That's true. There definitely are people who look super young even when they're in their 40s. So it's up to you. Jowls.
Feels a bit mid-tony.
Oh, I can see that. Maybe heightening the contrast. Because the daughter has some pretty good contrast with her colors. Because she wears a lot of black kind of in between the brighter colors.
He's Japanese. Oh, okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Bones is right where I think a lot of his colors are kind of the same value where you might want to just heighten the contrast where you can. And you should be able to have a lot of fun with it. Because, like, if he has these fun outfits where you can do different patterns and shapes and stuff, you can add lots of contrast.
Yeah, I agree with the comment. Besides wrinkles, age, you can lose fat in your face and become more angular. There's signs of age. They're not necessarily like, yeah. Wrinkles just tends to be the one that like every single one of you does. Like, not you guys, just like artists. It's like you add the two little eye lines. Now they are
Listen,
old.
the eye lines are the best.
I told her so remove the eye line
How dare
once, even though they're cute. Listen, we just like older men because we're old.
you. Listen, I just want them all to be Dennis from Magpie. Okay.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
Gonna move forward.
Okay, so finally we have Akemi Oshiro. She is Maki's crush and the best junior female gymnast in Japan. Oh heck, she powerful. Okay. I love this skirt. It's so good. I like her style. She looks kind of, I like how she looks like punk-y, kind of like punk-ish. I like her clothes seem to say like a lot about her personality. Like she seems very energetic. She seems kind of like sassy. I like her, maybe like her workout clothes, how there's like these bright pops of color. I like how it's like her clothes feel very creative. It's not like she's just wearing like a t-shirt and shorts. She's wearing like say for her workout clothes, they seem like very loose fitting, but they have these like bright patterns on them. I like how in her her full outfit here, she's got like a skirt that's got like a torn edge to it. She's got like belts and buckles and it looks like little cat ears on her stockings. And
I
like,
love wearing those.
hell yeah, 10 out of 10. But I like how she's got these very like bold fashion choices, and even here where she's wearing just like looks like a cardigan or a jacket over like a polo shirt, it still feels very like kind of punk with the color choices. Does that make sense? But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I also like how her hair flows with her movements, especially in this pose here.
You know who the dad reminds me of?
Who?
Gil from Gilmore Girls. The
Gil?
old guy who joins the band with the long hair.
Oh, you're right. Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, my life revolves around Gilmore Girls apparently. I can't get away with the stream. Kuro asked if I give him wrinkles, will it take away from his somewhat youthful?
I don't think so. Cause like if we look back at the dad, he's got such youthful clothing and a very youthful like kind of party hairstyle and really bright colors. I think that'll show through his like kind of youthful attitude. If that makes sense. I think his expression is also very youthful. So if you add just like, maybe one or two little small age markers, I don't think it'll take away from like this kind of like spirited attitude he has.
Yeah.
But I mean, play
like
around.
I find the one in the corner is not so bad, like with the little eye lines.
Yeah.
Feels a bit older. Just push it like slightly more.
Yeah.
I think.
Try some things out. See if you like them.
Give him like stubble. Not necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, you could, but
Yeah. You don't have to.
yeah. But I really like her design here. I like how you've brought in kind of some of the kind of wave to her hair into some of her outfit stuff, like the pattern, the torn edges of her skirts and stuff,
Yes,
as well as like the waves on her workout outfit and stuff. I think that's great. Keep it up for more outfits with her. I think again she could use a bit of contrast. I find her hair, which will be like, I'm sure she's gonna have scenes where she has her hair up if she's doing gymnastics. But I feel like in a lot of scenes with her hair down, it's gonna be kind of like a backdrop to her, just because it covers so much of her back and you can see it beyond her shoulders and stuff. I would recommend either brightening it up or just ensuring that there's enough contrast between like her outfit and her hair, because right now it's reading very mid-tone and kind of blending in with the rest of her colors, which are on the same kind of value. So just upping that contrast, whether it's like brightening her hair up or darkening her hair and then lightening up her outfits or vice versa. Just making sure that the contrast is there. And I think, yeah, I'm noticing it in her skin and her hair is that they both seem very desaturated. So bringing in some saturation would also really help. I do also like the... I guess one final note would be her eye color, where she's got this very purple fuchsia pink eye, which I think goes really well with her hair, which is that kind of like dark teal, dark turquoise, because those two contrast really well. But I find the warmer tones in her skin and then the red that you've used on a lot of her outfits do kind of clash with the blueness of the purple, because it's a very cool purple, whereas like these really warm kind of yellowy reds and browns are around. That kind of clashes. So maybe bringing either like adding some red into her eyes, so it's more like a red pink instead of like a cool fuchsia pink. That could probably help, because the warm red still contrasts well with the blue in the hair, the bluey green in the hair. So yeah, so playing around with that, just see if you can maybe get the colors to match up a bit more, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right,
let me
move
know
forward.
if you have questions.
Yeah.
Happy to answer. Okay, so did anyone leave any crying emojis?
No one was begging for it.
No one was begging. I should stop using warm colors. No, you can use warm colors. It's hard. Like, color relativity is really hard, like balancing colors with each other.
The cool color is the one that's out of place there, though?
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Just reading what?
Okay, so we could look at Alice.
Sure.
All right. Okay, Alice B says, so Caius is our tuba player. He's a gentle boy who would rather not fight you, but will if threatened. Bless. Nice to a fault. Okay, right. I think this was for a comic about like a bunch of people in a band. Okay.
Neum.
Colors be tough. They do be tough.
I'm tough.
Okay. So I like his face shape, especially here. I feel like it gets lost a little bit on this side, but I like here how he's got this like, he's got a really square face and a really squared off jaw and chin, and like his hair is all squared off and stuff. And I like how he's got these like big broad shoulders and like a thick neck, and he looks super muscular. I feel like I really like the proportion of it over here, where he feels very bulky and like a large guy. But I find it gets lost a little bit over here, where his head is turned and his neck has gotten like skinnier. And his face feels like it's lost a little bit of the kind of solidness to it. So I'd recommend just keeping in mind when you're doing like turnarounds to just make sure those proportions are like keeping the same. just keeping them as consistent as possible, because he does feel like he's been like, he's a lot more skinny, and like his muscles are less defined over here. Whereas in this one where he's fighting and this one where he's standing, he feels very muscular. So just something to keep in mind with keeping characters consistent as they move. I should also check if you had any other notes later.
You'll be texting me, though. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to punch you guys.
After... Okay, my plan was to do turnaround sheets for all the characters moving forward. Wasn't able to finish one. Tried to focus primarily on improving the contrast and shape language. So I'd like a critique on those two things. If you see anything else I can improve on, also as well. Oh, I won't be able to attend due to work. Okay, so as for shape language, I think you did a really good job with this guy, where everything is very, like, squared off. Yeah, I really like his design. He looks like a really big guy, but, like, his expression is very, like, sweet and gentle. There's something about his eyes, just, like, they've got this, like, very gentle swoop to them, and, like, the way his eyebrows are positioned. I just like it. He looks how you described him. He looks like a gentle giant.
I don't feel like I'd make the head smaller. I think I'd make the legs smaller.
Yeah, the legs do feel a little bit big compared to the rest of him.
Mostly like the feet.
Yeah.
Because you can have head-crushing thighs.
That's true.
If you want. It's just something about the balance of the lower body.
Yeah, it feels...
Maybe the head's slightly small, but...
I like it. I think it makes his torso look bigger to have a smaller head, and it keeps his neck feeling thick.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I think the legs just need to be scaled down a little bit. They're like the right proportion, but they're just like a bit too... They look like they've been scaled up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah, I feel like he's got some good shape language there. He's got lots of like squares and rectangles going throughout his design. Yeah, I like it. As for contrast, I think it gets a little mid-tony in his clothing.
It's very desaturated.
Yeah, that too. Depending on what you're doing, you might want to take some parts of him and like saturate them more, like just to make them pop.
You know what it is? I think it's like it's really desaturated except his hair, and it's kind of weird.
Oh, I can see that. That happens a lot with like yellows and oranges and reds. Because if you desaturate them, they become brown. Yeah.
So what happened to my hair? Like my beard is saturated, but my hair is just desaturated.
Exactly.
Someone turned the saturation up on my beard follicles. It's good to know.
You're bright red, yeah. But yeah. Yeah, playing around with saturation will probably help. Like I might brighten up the skin as well. It feels kind of like grayed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, play around with the contrast more and the saturation levels as well.
Drawing on white might be part of it.
True. There's a trick I learned where if you draw or color on like an off-white, like a very like light gray, it can help you stop. It helps kind of balance out contrast and saturation issues, because having the white background can really like skew the way colors look and make them seem like darker or lighter than they actually are.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, on to the next one.
On to the next one.
You can send a little DM if you're struggling.
Yes. Yeah, if you're watching this later, you can just message me if you have any questions.
Don't message me.
No.
No one.
Bones will fight. Okay, this is our trombone player, Yuki. She's the flirty, aromantic, and is almost definitely the smartest person in the room. She's not interested in anyone's shenanigans. I like her.
Like her proportions.
Same. She's very like...
Ursula.
Listen. These hips don't lie. Okay.
You're more boob, though.
Yeah. I'm 100% boob. Yeah, I really like her. She's got this kind of like heart shape to her. Almost. It's very like, she's very rounded out everywhere. I think I see it in her hair here. This kind of like heart shape-ish. And I like how it carries into her buns as well, where they're not like circular. They've got these little like kind of sandpaper down edges to them.
Hell yeah.
It's really cool. And same with like the shape of her clothing, where like it's rounded out, like parts of it, like her chest and on the pockets on her jeans and like the shape of the jeans. It's very rounded, but it has these kind of like flat edges to it as well to make it feel kind of like a little squared out heart. It's really cool. I like it. It's like a subtle shape, but it's there through her whole design, and I really like it. I think you did a really good job with this one. As for her colors, I think you've done a pretty good job with the contrast here. Like, she's got... I think a lot of this is because she has skin showing between, like, the different, like, pieces of her outfit. So there's always something kind of separating the different colors. Because I can see the tank top and the jeans being like a little bit mid-tone, but they're kind of... It kind of works because you got this like her kind of light saturated skin in between. So yeah, very good job. I like her like black hair and her black shoes. I think that's cute and kind of ties it together. You could play around with maybe like bracelets or wristwatches or anything to kind of bring some of it more into like her arms as well. But yeah, overall this is a really good design.
There's some trouble with the legs. Like
the feet.
Yeah. Like, I noticed the feet and like the shorts are kind of shapeless. Like I love the shape, like outline wise, but like the thighs look so flat when they touch the shorts. If that makes sense.
I think so.
Andy, get out of my DMs.
Andy, you broke the rules. Yeah, I think there's a couple little issues. Ace mentioned there's the consistency of where the heels fall is a little off, because looking at her from the back, she looks like her feet are planted on this line, but up here it looks like she stood like on an angle so that her heels
are hard, guys.
They're really hard. I struggle as well, but like, yeah, it feels like her feet are on like a higher plane, or like the camera's tilted upward a little bit over here, and then over here they're like tilted even more.
I like feet personally, but
yeah,
hooves. I like drawing hooves.
Oh, hoofs are fun. But
hooves
yeah,
are just like high heels.
They are literally just standing on their little feet.
That's my tip for drawing high heels. Become a master of drawing hooves.
Step 1, draw a hoof. Step 2, draw a shoe. Okay.
Yeah, the little connecty bit to the ground. You're good.
There you go.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Get my furry ass out of here.
Okay. But yeah. Yeah, I think you need a little bit of work on planting the feet, and I think that'll help as well with just some of the distortion that's on the character, because all these look like she's being viewed at from a different camera angle. Like from the back it looks very like head on, and then over here it's more tilted upward, and then over here the camera's like at an angle. So just work on... If I were you, I'd add in more of these kind of guidelines for where her different body parts line up, whatever, the little guides. So like you have one at her eyes, it looks, one at her chin, one at her waist, and one at her knees and her feet. And I'd add in lots of those. That's what I did for my 9-point characters, where I'd basically draw like a grid. I guess it's not a grid, but a ton of horizontal lines to just figure out how all the different pieces like lined up. So it's like I know their nose has to be here, and their chin is here, and their shoulders and this part of their armor goes here, and their knees are here, and their mid thigh is here, etc., etc., just to make sure that every single piece was lined up in their turnaround. And I think it helps you kind of be able to check to make sure everything's lined up and at the same level and at the same shape. So I recommend use more guidelines. Hell yeah. So I hope that was helpful. On to the next one. We have this guy. Oh, pardon me.
Oh, woo.
I haven't had a chance to finish Pico's turnarounds.
I like how you do the hair highlights.
Agreed. They're really
Brings
cool.
me back. It's like
back.
a certain style.
They're
A very American comic, but also I know it's not just American comics. It's just a very specific comic type that does that.
They're just very high contrast. And I like it. Okay, so still kind of in the midst of making this turnaround, seems like. Pico is our Piccolo player. Oh my god, yes. He enjoys working out and brings peace to the world. What's with these like soft workout boys? Okay, so let's look at his design. Pico the Piccolo player. For his shape, oh sorry, I'm blowing into the mic. He seems like he's very rounded. Like he looks like he's made of a lot of.
Oh, it's
ovals.
Archie type comics.
Oh, Archie. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
totally.
It's like that kind of hair.
Or it's the like dark hair with the super bright highlights on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially with the black hair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I was thinking. Because
Okay.
I know there's like an American style of comics that like has like web comics that follow in that vein. Like not necessarily based on Archie, but based on something that's based on Archie. That like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. I figured out where my brain was going.
Yeah, his shape language. He seems very kind of rounded out. Like he's got like a really oval face. He's got kind of this roundness to like his ears and like the top of his head and his arms and stuff. But he also has like some squares coming through, like with his outfit. Like he's got this really squared off tank top.
Sorry,
and, like,
I keep hitting the
jeans.
mic.
How dare you? But yeah, he's got very like squared off in his outfit and on his knees. He's got like wearing little square
Coordinates
flip-flops.
breathe through their butts.
Bones, can we stop?
Sorry, they're just talking. God, Ursula's mad at me now, guys. Wow, I'm just trying to give you animal facts.
I'm getting spicy. You're making me lose track of thought.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I still love you.
Listen, I've been helping this episode.
I know.
Crampula. Cramping my style.
She's Krampus.
Okay, back to your thing. I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Thank you.
I can go play with Fado again. I'll go do that.
Kicks. Am I the asshole for kicking my husband out during our critique stream? Send your vote in the chat. Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh, shapes. Okay, so I think... Right, so he's got roundness, he's got some squares to him, and then he also has this, like, floopy hair bit that's, like, pointy. And it's this kind of, like, wave look in his hair. Which I guess you kind of see with, like, the wrinkles and stuff in his shirt. But overall, it feels, like, a little incohesive. It might change if I see the rest of his turnaround. I think you can... Well, I mean, like, there's... Ursula... What are you saying? I feel like there's nothing wrong with having, like, a couple elements that kind of break the shape language. So I'm not sure how I feel about the hair. I really like the hair and the shape of the hair. I don't know. I feel like I'd have to see the rest of his turnaround to give, like, a really good, crit of his whole design. But yeah. I don't know how how I feel about his design yet. I feel like I have to see more. Right now, I feel like there's a little bit of inconsistency between kind of like the ovalness of his face and then the squareness of his body. So that might be something you have to kind of adjust, whether it's like adding in more kind of an oval shape to his body and his outfit, or if it's making his face more square. But if, you know, his face is more square, he might look like the redhead guy from earlier. So just something to think about. Contrast wise, I like it. I kind of like how he's got this kind of, his skin feels very like orangey and warm. And then he wears these kind of like desaturated blues. I think that's a really interesting contrast, that I like. So definitely keep going with that. 10 out of 10. How do I enter the critique? If you guys want your stuff critiqued, you have to join our Patreon at the $8 tier. And then next month you can submit your stuff and we will critique it.
There you go. On to the next one.
On to the next one. Okay. Okay, so next up we have Cole, or we have Kunai. Which one of you would like to go? I saw Kunai. I also saw Cole at some point. So which one of you wants to be my next victim? Ooh, I'm gonna drink some water. Hold on to your horses, everyone. Did you hold on to your horses? Oof. Well, whenever I have enough of my stuff together to join, I'll join, hopefully. Hell yeah. No pressure. Hydrate. Hell yeah. Oh, I can call you Red? Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, Red, you are here, so you're getting critiqued. You spoke first. You have volunteered. Okay. Oh my god, your name Red is literally in your Discord name. I'm sorry. Okay. Hello, I wanted to submit the first comic page for a light, mildly spooky Halloween themed comic I wanted to do. I'm mainly concerned about 3 things. If this page immediately says Halloween to you, I think I could up some of the yard decoration or add more trick-or-treaters, but it's late at night, so I figured there'd be less kids out. Okay. If you think the color palette works for the theme I'm going for, and if the textured lines work, I'd prefer to use them, but I do realize they're a bit messy looking in certain areas, so if you think they'd be distracting, I'd understand. Okay. Okay, firstly, this definitely says Halloween. I immediately looked at the color palette. I didn't even see like the little jack-o'-lantern at first, and I was like, this seems spooky. Seems very Halloween-y, October feeling, especially with like the bright yellow and the purple. And I really like the red as well. I feel like there's lots of cool contrast going on where you have like the purple and the black for your like darker colors, and then you have this really bright yellow as the base and this red as this like kind of mid-tony color. You could brighten the red a little bit, I think. But yeah, mess around with it a bit. But yeah, it totally says Halloween to me. I saw it and I was like, oh, it's spooky. Yeah, I think you could get away with adding more decoration to the front of the house, just to kind of kind of scream it to like the people in the back. And I think you can have a lot of fun with like Halloween decorations, because you can go like all out with them with decorating your house, right? So yeah, I would definitely encourage adding kind of more Halloween decorations, whether it's like little gravestones in the front yard, or like spider webs hanging down from the tree, or like some people will put like, I don't know, like ghosts or witches or whatever hanging from the trees and stuff. Like that stuff's always cool. So yeah, play around with that, have some fun, add some spookiness.
Are you gonna fight me?
Yeah, I will. Only if you tell me more weird hornet facts.
They just breathe through their butts. Also, our dogs are afraid of those like paper ghosts that people hang in trees.
Yes.
Like they're always afraid of Halloween what are the decorations? Decorations. They always like one time we were walking with them and there was like a blow up ghost and they
Yes.
turned and they saw it and all of them started barking at it like what is that? Kill it. Yeah, they were so
They're
scared.
terrified. They do that with like some Christmas decorations as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do you remember when Fado saw the little horse statue? Someone had these little like chubby horse statues like on either side of their like front walkway. Fado saw it and he lost his mind.
You thought they were dogs or
He was
something.
just screaming at them.
All right, back to the critique.
Okay. So I really love these textured lines. I don't think they overtake things. I think you can also do like I love this like little texture on the window where it's kind of faded, or like it seems like there's light shining off it. I think you could like play around with that a lot. But yeah, I love the textured line. It looks really cool, and I don't think it takes away anything from the art at all. I say go for it. I love also the variation you've done with using some really thick lines and some really thin lines to do textures. Like I love the textures on this tree here where you've got like some of the wood grain and then you've got like the little bark textures. So good. So good. I think the only place where it might be a little messy is these trees here that are in the red. And maybe some of these light posts, but I think if you just kind of like define them a little bit better, just because like everything in the foreground is so really well defined, just kind of cleaning up some of the places where it feels like kind of smudgy might help make it feel a little bit cohesive. But other than that, I think you've done a really great job, and I love the textured line. So good. I'd also recommend there's some little places where you can boost the contrast. I noticed it the most here with this kid's like stockings versus the black pavement behind them, and then this kid with their pants. So I think you just need to add in a little bit of contrast, kind of like you have here with adding the line in behind their skirt, just so that they can kind of see things a little bit more clearly.
Does the white feel a bit odd?
The white? Like adding in the white?
There's just anything that's white. It just feels a bit too white to me.
I can see that actually. You might want to replace it with like the yellow.
Or like an off-white. Like just like a very light cream. If you even want like slightly lighter color. It just feels like, I don't know. White is a powerful thing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, because I think it only appears like, right here. This panel line and then the skirt. So yeah, I might recommend using like yellow or like a lighter yellow or something to kind of keep it in line with everything else. But yeah, everything's looking great.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Awesome possums.
Awesome possums.
If you have any questions, leave them. If not, moving to the next thing.
Oh, woo. Okay, so the next one we have Half Asleep Human. And we have Coal. So I think I'll do Coals first.
Because we also have V.
Oh, right. We have V, too.
Yeah.
Heck. Okay. So let's look at Coal. Coal, by the way, thank you for submitting your vertical
Thank you for
comic.
hearing our desperate plea.
Yes, and showing it as one picture, because that really helps getting the flow of things.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so this is episode 8 of my story. I don't have it completely done. I don't have the words on it yet. Okay, so there's no speech bubbles. I'm going to have to change the layout a little bit, but give me your opinions on it. I don't think I'll make it to the critique. Okay. Right. So, for this first little bit, one thing that stuck out to me was, admittedly, I don't know if you're going to put typography up here, which it feels like you might be, or you're just doing this as like a pacing thing, which is cool, also valid. I feel like this stairway needs like a little bit of definition behind it to kind of show what room they're in. Whether it's like maybe showing some faint lines of where the ceiling is, for example, or showing like, I don't know, like pictures on the wall or paintings or texture or anything like that would really kind of help make it feel more more 3D, I guess. There's some little places where the perspective feels a little bit off here and there. For example, like this bottom step. Like I honestly like how some parts of it aren't lined, because it just lets things kind of melt into the background a bit, so you can focus on like the characters. But I feel like this feels off. Like this line feels like it's going in the wrong direction. Same with this line. It feels like it should be tilted up more. Yeah, there's just little things that feel like a little bit off that maybe just need like a little bit of a perspective check. But I like what you've done with the characters. They feel like they're all kind of standing in the same room and playing around with angles and stuff. It's very cool. I think there's also some places where the contrast could be upped a little bit. Like, for example, this bag. Like, I know it's not like super important. It's just like a background element. But like, maybe adding in some more shadow beneath it and like the couch and the characters, just to show like more of where they're kind of standing and just cementing them into the environment a little bit more. Because right now, for the most part, the only reason they're standing out is because they have these the really dark line work where the background has very like light line work. So just doing something to kind of, darken the shadows, kind of make things feel like they're more rooted to the floor, I think would really help kind of make your stuff stand out. I think there's also some contrast issues, like in here between like the character's hair and this couch. I think this couch in particular is just a little mid-tone. And I think it needs to be like lightened, or the characters need like the saturation boosted or something like that, just to make it make them stand out against the background more. I think the character expressions are great. I kind of like here where she's dizzy and it shows like the background's kind of blurred out because she's kind of dizzy. I think that's a cool effect. You could even try adding it to the characters in front as well. I think that's a nice little touch. I also like how you can really easily kind of tell what's going on. Like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but you get a good sense of like, oh, she stood up and she got dizzy and she's like waving it away and they're like leaving, and this person's giving them like some food or something, and everyone's saying goodbye. And the hug, I like this part where she gets hugged and she's like, ah. That's very cute. Again, there's some little things where contrast could be boosted, like brightening up the characters a little bit so they pop against the kind of dark sky behind them. Because, like, I noticed the goblin, the top of her hair, because it's like a gradient, the top, like, blends in with these dark backgrounds quite a bit. So maybe doing something to, like, brighten it up, or just checking on that contrast so that nothing's blending together. Again, in here, things feel very mid-tone and kind of blend together. Like, it's hard to tell kind of what these objects here are because they blend in a lot with this like dark red background. So just checking on your contrast. Make sure that like you're doing kind of light on dark or dark on light. and not doing like mid-tone for everything. And I think it's hard because I know this is like a night scene, and I think I've talked about that before, where like I think a lot of the stuff has been desaturated to make it look kind of darker. You notice it especially on like their skin and hair and stuff here. But I think you need to, at night things are actually like more saturated because shadows tend to be very saturated, where things in the light tend to be desaturated, which it feels like the opposite of how it should be. Well, that's kind of how it is. To make things feel like darker and deeper, you tend to do more saturated colors. So that's something to keep in mind. And kind of study what, scenes at night, whether it's like from photos or if it's in movies, because movies will like show a night scene where things are still lit, but it still looks like it's at night. So looking into that can really help you kind of learn what colors to use. I like your compositions quite a bit. Like I know some of these they probably feel weird because there's probably like speech bubbles in here that haven't been added yet, but it feels like there's room for them that you're leaving, which is awesome. Because like up here there's like all this blank space above this character, but like it's obviously that they're saying something, and yeah. So I like how you're leaving room for your speech bubbles, but the compositions work really well. I like all the leading lines with like the glowy flowers and like there's echoes of like the stars and the flowers and like the spotty path and stuff. That's all really nice. Sorry, I'm gathering my thoughts here. Again, just some contrast issues, like this using a black umbrella against like a dark sky. Like you might want to use like a brighter color because you can still make it look like a black umbrella, but use like kind of bright highlights and stuff on it to make it stand out more. I like this little exchange. It's cute. Yeah, I think that's just the main concern is contrast, just during these kind of like night darker scenes, just making sure that you're making your characters pop against these kind of darker backgrounds and saturating things up more.
Pop them like pimples.
Ew. No. No.
Hi, I'm still here.
Oh, that's so cute. She like looks at the picture. Oh, it's so cute. Okay. But yeah, I also really like. Oh, the sunrise is so cute. Okay. But yeah, I can totally kind of tell what's happening, like even though you don't have the text, which is really cool. Yeah, I also really like the flow of everything. Like you have a really great way of kind of bringing your eye to the next panel, and it's also cool being able to see kind of the pacing of things. Because having vertical scroll panels kind of lets you use the amount of time it takes to like scroll to the next panel to really like pace things out the way you would use different panel sizes on say like a page in a book. But yeah, you've done a really great job. I think you just got to work on some color and contrast issues.
Awesome.
So yeah, Cole, if you're here or when you watch this, let me know if you have any questions. Happy to answer. So who do we got next? We have V and
Half asleep human.
yes. Okay.
Whichever one you want to do.
Okay. Let's do half asleep human. So I wasn't sure how much of this they wanted to show because they sent like a complete comic. It's like a short, so maybe I'll just show kind of stuff as I'm talking about it so I don't spoil it, their whole comic. Okay, so I think, let's see, what did they say? Here's one for a long submission. I'd like feedback on the typography and cover page if possible, maybe perspective. Oh, and maybe perspective on the last page. It murdered me, even if you can't tell the name of the type of perspective I'm trying to do on the last page. I would appreciate it. Oh, if you can, okay. I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to configure things on that page, so I had to wing it without guidelines. I basically didn't figure out where the horizon line was. Oh no. Okay. Okay. So let's look at typography. Typography. Ba, ba. The end of a father's world. Bop, 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 bop. Bop, bop, bop. So, little thing. There should be an apostrophe here, because it is. The world is in possession. The father is in possession of the world, so needs a little apostrophe s. Yeah, I like the little texture effect you've done on the typography. I think there's a good amount of space for the typography, so it's not like shoved off into the corner. I think you could get away with moving these panels here, like the first two panels plus like the speech bubble and the little girl, like bringing it down just like a skosh, just to like give the lettering a little bit more room to breathe. But I think you've done a good job of like given it space, and I really like how solid the lettering feels up here. And actually, while I was reading through it, for a lot of the speech bubbles, you have this kind of like handwritten, kind of wiggly, wavy font going on. And I feel like it doesn't quite match up with things. Like, there's one where it looks great that I really liked. This one, oh, that's not the one. That's not the one. This is the one. So like for example in this speech bubble, it feels weird. Like I find like the lettering here feels very cute to me. Like it feels very like bubble lettery, where it feels like it should be more kind of frantic, very bold. It could also be the shape of the speech bubble, because it's like, you know, his daughter's flying away and he's running the hell after her. Why? He's running the heck after her. Like I'd love to see maybe more like really stark typography and like maybe a more frantic, whether it's like line or shape to the bubble, just to show that like that pleading with it. And I think the letters just have this like really round kind of cute feel to them that I feel like is taking away from the emotion. I think it works really well, like the handwritten stuff for like the little sound effects, like where he's huffing and the sound of him running and stuff. I think that works really well. But yeah, but there's a couple places, it was here and on another page, where like just the lettering didn't quite work. There's one where you did a real good job with it. Like I loved this one where you had that kind of texture effect on it again, which was great. Where it felt very ghostly and ominous, which I really liked. So yeah, just more kind of like really play to the effect of the emotion with your speech bubbles, and I think it'll just make it shine even more, because like the visuals in this are so good. I love all the texture on everything. I love the line work. I think you did a really good job with like a lot of the perspective. Like here it looks great. Like the camera angles are very like ominous and cool and stuff. As for the last page, with the perspective, I think honestly you've done a good job with it. It's like a Dutch angle type thing where everything's just kind of like slightly off kilter. The camera's kind of coming in from like up ways. And and looking down at the scene, and then you have like the foreground of the door and stuff. I think you got the perspective like down. I'm not showing it on screen, by the way, because it's spoilers, and I don't know if you want it shown. So,
Vroom vroom.
vroom vroom. It's Pierce coming in on his motorbike.
Who's coming in?
Pierce.
Oh. It's motorbike time.
Nyom. Okay. But yeah, I think the one thing you could maybe do at the final page is so with the foreground with the dad looking in, you might want to darken it, because I think I'm not actually sure if this will work, but you might want to give it a try as maybe darkening it so it's more of a silhouette. They're Newman. Vroom, vroom.
The perspective is very good.
But yeah, maybe like darkening the dad in the foreground where he's looking into the train car on the last page, just to I think it'll add some more depth if you add this like really stark shadow. And it'll also bring attention to like what he's looking at inside the car.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But otherwise, I think you did a great job. I don't think you messed up the perspective at all. So.
I think it's slightly messed, but I don't think it cares.
Nah.
It looks good enough.
Hell yeah.
Passable.
Passable. That's what everyone wants to hear about the art. It's passable.
It's comics. Who cares?
But yeah, great work.
Who has the time to make it perfect? I just mean it's not perfect, but it's really good.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's what I meant by passable. I mean, just don't hurt yourself over it.
That's true. It looks really good. So yeah, so just some of those speech bubbles, changing them up, changing up some of the typography so that it fits the emotion.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm not a big fan. This is my personal opinion. I'm not a big fan of having it like carve around the speech bubble like this. It just feels cartoony to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Is it
that on
V's
that.
time?
V's time.
Move on to V. It's movie.
Movie.
Movie time.
Okay. V. Okay.
You're an underrated rom-com.
Thanks. So I went looking through your pages. Again, I won't show all of them because not sure how much you want to show. Let's see. What did you write, V?
I'll stop climbing.
Ow.
You are not a boreal. You are a burying lizard.
Ugh.
Al wants a girlfriend right now. It's breeding season. It's warm, and our lizard wants to find a girlfriend, so he spends his every waking hour trying to escape.
He's just running around his enclosure.
Yeah, digging holes. Like 90% of the year he does nothing, but around this time of the year he's like, I need a lady.
That's him.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the first year we were like, is he okay?
Yeah.
What's happening? Okay. Okay. So I managed to get my first 10 pages down. Mood. I was hoping you guys could take a look at them. I'm not looking for a critique on the artwork, more so the technical aspects like paneling, speech bubble layout, and placement and legibility. There's one bit of artwork I was hoping to get an opinion on, though. On page 3, Dario's panic attack gets considerably worse, and I've tried to help accentuate this in the background. However, I'm not sure if it feels too heavy-handed or actually effective at all. Okay, let's take a look at that first. Let's take a look-see. Page 3. Right. Right. Because they're like fighting, and then he has a panic attack. So that's his brother yelling at him. He kind of squats down. Okay, and I see, like, you can see the music notes get kind of like they wilded in the back.
Just like Al, Wilden in the
Wilden.
background.
Ow! Stop. Okay,
We plead with him.
please. Just go back to bed.
Sounds like a teenager. It's true. Maybe in his older age, he'll stop.
Maybe when he's an old man.
He tries so hard that he'll like flip upside down, like trying to like climb the top of the enclosure. And it's like, you're a skink. Your legs don't do this.
Tiny little legs.
I'm sorry, V. This is your aside. Everyone's getting an aside from Bones.
It's true. Whether it's hornet butts or randy lizards.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think honestly you can see the anxiety building. I think you could definitely push it more. I don't know if this is going to be colored. I'd assume so.
It seems like
Yeah, because it looks like you're kind of leaving room for like adding color and stuff.
And all the designs had color, so.
True, right. So yeah. So I think you can definitely accentuate kind of like the anxiety through color and texture in the background, but I think it just needs to feel more oppressive. Like I love the vroom vroom.
Blue, we get it. You like cars.
It's just blue. Bye. Okay. Right. So I love the distorted like music notes. I just think like if you brought them in tighter and kind of like had more of them, so it looks like it's really like pressing in on him, I think you could really accentuate the anxiety. I think you've got it in his expression and in his posing. It looks really great. You can tell that he's like really distressed. But you could even play with like bringing in the speech bubbles and making maybe the text, like the typography get more like make the text get bold or give it the same like distorted effect as the music notes and stuff, and like pressing in on him could really help. But yeah, just play around with like texture, bringing things in more, like clustering them in closer. And yeah, I think it'll do really well.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing good for time. We've
Are
only
we?
been
Oh, yeah.
streaming for an hour and a half.
Heck.
Yeah.
Okay, so as for like paneling and speech bubble stuff.
I found that sometimes the leading musical notes could have been more swoopy. Because it kind of feels like they're just falling down. Rather than carrying you through the entire scene.
Totally, because you could make it like dance back and forth more so that you see kind of the whole picture instead of just following the notes.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have it like lead around. You see the parents in the back, and you can see, is it Christian is the brother's name?
I don't know. I'm bad with names.
But yeah, you could see like Darius and the brother and stuff just dancing around between them. Because I think it works like where it's just the falling line like up here on the top panel, but as it gets to more detailed panels, you might want to like swoop it around to kind of bring you to all the different important elements in the page. As for like, I noticed a few times where you have little captions. So for example, like up here where it's like 10 years ago, and I think there was one in a later page that was similar, where it's like 10 years ago, where it's so small I didn't realize it at first. So in this page, it's switching scenes from like the present to the past, and I saw this and I assumed that Darius was attacking is it Skylar's the other guy, and I was like, wait, why does he look different? And then I was like, oh wait, it's a flashback, that's his brother. Okay. So I think you need to make your captions like a bit more prominent. This one in particular, you might want to bring up here to maybe follow his eye line. Because the way this will read, it'll be like they look at like the expressions and the speech bubbles, and they'll read these two speech bubbles and then look at his face, and then it's kind of bringing you over here. So I'd recommend maybe putting in the caption kind of in this area, and then it'll bring you down into the what's happening with the characters in the flashback. So yeah, so that was my one thing. I think you could also make some of these speech bubbles like larger so that they are more legible. There's some where they're fine, like looking in here, they seem to do pretty good. It depends on how much space you have within each panel. Like, I found the conversation where he's, like, at breakfast with his sister, like, everything felt kind of balanced and, like, easy to read and stuff, but there's some spots where, like, it feels a little small, like here where Skylar's saying hi for the first time, like, just kind of making things larger, or maybe, switching around the panel so that, like, it doesn't feel like there's so much kind of empty space around it. Oh, pardon me. Yawn. Okay. But yeah, but just kind of keeping in mind like the balance between different elements of like speech bubbles and like the people and the backgrounds. And like I said, like it's not all over the place. There's lots of places where it feels really balanced and it works, like especially here where you've got lots of dialogue and back and forth happening. But there's just the occasional panel where it's like feels a little out of it. Hi V, welcome. We're looking at your art. What was the other question? Yeah, overall, I think you did a really good job. It was really cool kind of going from script to seeing the actual pages.
For real.
Because I was like, oh wow, this is totally how I imagined it. This is really cool. But yeah, I also really love your backgrounds. There's a lot of like little details in the background that are great and kind of help place you in the room. Like there's this like, it's like a separating wall or something between like the dance floor and the entrance, and you can see it here, and then they're leaning on it, and then you see it like them leaning over each side of it, and then you see like there's like this orchid in the background, there's like a palm tree in the background, and it's just like these nice little details that kind of like place you in the room and keep you grounded in it. And I think you have a really good balance of like putting in backgrounds, because it's not in every panel. Like obviously if you're doing like a close-up of someone, you don't have this like super intricate background going on, but you have it like here, so they feel like they're in a room. You see like the calendar, and then you do a close-up on it. Like that's just real good, like setting things up and like paying off and showing where each character's in a room. I think you've done a really good job. I love this page where you see them driving, and then you see the building they're going to, and then the elevator, and it's just like chef kiss. So good. Really great at like establishing shots and backgrounds and stuff. So yeah, awesome work. I'm really excited.
Hecky.
There was like, and like I said, there's a couple panels where things feel a little off. This page in particular, like with the speech bubble, it feels kind of out of balance with like the size of Skylar here, and I find this intro of him stretching, it feels a little blank in this room. Like it feels like there's too much blank space around him.
But also color
True.
would mean a lot.
That is true. Color can change things.
Yeah, because it seems like it's going to be colored. That's my assumption. But I guess V is here to say.
Yeah, I feel like you could bring in like a foreground element here.
Yeah, there I get you. But at the bottom panel, just might not be worth it.
Yeah, true. This could just be color utilized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be colored. Yeah, I figured.
Okay.
Because if you have a different background, like he'll pop, and with a larger speech bubble, you wouldn't even notice.
True. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
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 It's looking really great.
Keep up the good work, V. Ugh.
Yeah, and let us know if you have any questions.
Heck yeah. Ask your questions.
Ask your questions.
I have to pee. before I go into my critique.
Okay. So I will gab until you get back. I'm just gonna double check that I got everyone's submissions. I think we only have Sketchy Bagel, who needs their script done. Okay, so yeah, I think that covers everything. Heck yeah. Ooh. Thanks, guys. I will. How about that? Hell yeah. But yeah. Oh man. You guys with your good art. What the heck? Gosh. But yeah, it is very cool seeing some of these projects where like you've been like submitting like scripts and like designs and we get to see them like evolve and stuff. We were like, hell yeah, this is so cool. It's just really cool to just see how you guys like improve and evolve over time. And I'm really proud of all y'all. Listen, Sketchy Baby. Yes, I love being roasted. Hell yeah, we are here to roast you. Totally. But yeah, you guys are awesome. You're doing good work. You're doing the Lord's work of making comics. Hell yeah. I would join the Patreon, to be honest, but right now I have no job. That is totally fair. That's legit. Don't worry about it. We will be doing these for a long time. Maybe someday. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, Bones. Let's roast Sketchy Bagel.
Sketchy Bagel here?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hi.
Hi, hello, hey.
You ready for a roasting? I'm just making sure I'm actually going to be heard on mic. Okay. It feels so weird because I haven't like talked about a script in a while.
That's true. It's been all art.
Oh.
For a while.
Like, I bet you're nervous, but I'm honestly a little nervous.
Oh no.
Okay, this is where Ursula gets to say random stuff and distract me.
Hell yeah.
Instead of the other way around. Okay, I'll try to start with good things because I'm really mean. I'm the mean one. I get fixated on issues. I'm mean to myself too. Okay. So let me open it up.
Mean Boy McKay.
Mean Boy McKay. Scary.
I forgot you could submit scripts.
A lot of people do.
Breathes nervously into mic, for real.
Sorry, I'm just finding it. I'm not prepared.
I'm trying to think of like fun facts I know.
You know nothing.
I really am just empty-headed.
I tend my script, but I'm a baby.
Oh no.
I know. There's something about writing that's really spooky.
It's spooky. Someone put up a meme on our Discord that was like when you're watching someone read your thing.
Oh
You're
God,
like,
yeah.
mm.
So first and foremost, I kind of look at me like already like
Do we use your weasel words?
my weasel words. Yeah, I like the setting. I like the ideas behind it. I like the trope of a princess learning with friendship and stuff and going to like an academy. I think that's very neat. That's very Bones. He is intrigued. I I can very visualize it, and there's lots of concepts I think that will look really cool, like the necklaces that can become the weapons. I think that's really neat. There's lots of really good comedy little bits, like with the gun. I was quite laughing.
Yes.
I kind of love that stuff because it's very humorous, and it's sort of I don't know. It just feels colorful, like the script. Like it's scripted in a way where I'm like, I can really visualize this. This is gonna be cool and neat, and I'm just gonna have a real fun time watching this interact. It's very visual. And in the same regard, I like the settings for that way. I like sort of the world building that's going into the settings when they're described. Like her room having like very much water and like a bath and all that stuff. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really good. I like how that's brought in the same way I like holograms and stuff. Like I always find that fantasy sci-fi thing interesting, even though sometimes it doesn't make tons of sense. But I like it when you're just like, who cares about sense? Like I want this fun thing with magic and also holograms. Like
Hell
I'm fine
yeah.
with that. I'm also a big fan of like, yeah, they're guns, but there's also swords. Like
Yes.
that's a big mood for me personally. Like I understand that. Um, what else do I like? I like the characters. I feel like there's probably a lot of character to each of them. I try to give a little more grace when I'm reading a script. With large amounts of characters because I know there's lots of legwork you can do with design. Because it might feel overwhelming at first, like when I was reading it and you're introduced to six characters, you're like, oh god, this is horrible. Because like when you're reading a novel or something and you're suddenly introduced to six characters, it can be very, very stressful. And like when you're reading a script, it's also very stressful. You're like, oh god, all these names. But if you lean on character design and that's really strong, you're going to be fine with that for the most part. Um, Results will vary depending on like how much story you want to give each of these individual characters, as to like uh, the, the 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 difficulty of writing. But that in of itself, like I can tell there's lots of characterization to them. Um, and whenever they were doing little exchanges with each other, like I could tell that they were friends, and there was like quite a few things that made me laugh. Um, yeah, and it also it's very colorful in my mind. I don't know why. It's just I like magic. It's good.
I
Um,
like it. It's good.
I like it. It's good. What else do I like? Um, I was going on about something. I was going on about world building, which is good. Um, where? Sorry, as I fail to remember what I was talking about. But yeah, I like the world building. Oh, I know what it was. I like the names of all your characters because I really like clever names, and everyone has a clever name. I know there was like a little confusion for Ursula when there was Venna and Vanessa, but otherwise, I really like Coraline because it's like a coral pun. I like Pacific. You know, like they're all very on the nose, but also you have to think about them a bit, and I enjoy that. I think it's cool. Arowana, very cool. Like if you know anything about fish, I got all of them. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I like that. I can tell there's a lot going on. I think that's cool. Um, so I think that all that stuff is really good. I think your world building is good. I think you probably have really good characters. Um, I think your structure and how you go about revealing things is is like where you're kind of hitting a snag. And I'm looking at the script and I'm kind of worried the amount of work you're gonna put on yourself. Like because there was like lots of very long paragraphs, which are either gonna be really hard to like sit down and read as a reader, or it's gonna really um, lengthen your script. And I think I've gotten to this point like with most scripts I read, where I don't feel like your story is beginning at where it actually begins. I can't say for certain where it actually begins, or if I may be wrong about this because I haven't read the rest of it. Um, However, it feels like the entire section with Anetta, where she's trying to convince her dad to let her go to the school, is very unnecessary. Um, all the information that we get through this, um, I like if you really want to do this section, it either needs to be slower, um, or or it needs to be rather like backstory. It feels like it's either backstory or it feels like a very rushed opening for this character, because I feel like there's like a lot going on with Aneta, and I really enjoy her backstory, with like her relationship with like her sister, her mother, her dad, and like that family dynamic like very much informs her. But I don't think you need to front load it, um, and open your story with it. Like, I think starting with her, not necessarily immediately at the school, but joining the school and then reflecting back on how she got there and how that like affects her as a character might serve you a lot better. They're based on the seven chakras. So I do myself a little there. Yeah, like I think you're gonna be fine with them. You just can't make every single one of them a main character, and you're gonna be okay. Um, but yeah, the whole segment with her and her dad, it just feels like backstory, or it feels too quick because it didn't have a lot of trial fail cycles. I noticed, um, it so that it felt very compressed. If you do want it to be there, because you have a scene where she's like, I hey dad, I want to join this school, and it's revealed that she's always been asking, and this is always been refused. And then she goes and practices, and then she goes to her dad and she's like, can I go? And he's like, okay, I guess you can now. Like, there's not enough struggle to warrant like keeping this whole thing. And I think it'd just be much stronger in the the as backstory and sewn in throughout your story. um the one in the beginning, yeah, I was thinking about that. Yeah, I would definitely weave that into her story, and I think it would just be a lot stronger. Um, yeah, the one being shown right now. It no, not that art. Okay, whatever. Uh, the very beginning. Um, I think it's the opposite problem where it begins too late. Like my very first impression where you open up and you have all these characters and they're all bickering about this fight that they had with a dragon. They're like, man, here's all the things that we should have done instead of what we did. And I think that that is way too late, because if you have a fight with a dragon, show the fight with a dragon instead. Like, you can show how they are lacking communication rather than having them sit around and communicate about how they lack communication, because I found that kind of very ironic, and it really didn't serve to show that they are lacking communication if they're all sitting around and discussing how they need help with communication. Because I was like, I noticed that a few times in the story where I felt like all of the characters were actually very good at communicating. Like, we were told that the king is very closed off, but at the same time, it felt like they were all very reasonable and very willing to discuss things. Like the king was very like he like back with the king, it was like, um oh man, it's hard to talk to him, and then the next scene is like she's worked really hard and now she talks to him and everything is okay. Like, and then the very first scene where they're all just sitting around and being like, oh man, here is exactly our issue. And yeah, it doesn't leave them a lot of room to grow. Like, maybe if their teachers, their coaches decided that for them, they're like, man, these teens cannot communicate whatsoever after seeing that battle, and they're like, let's do something about this, let's get someone new. And then like maybe they're like, well, I forget the two coaches, but after they see that battle, they're like, oh damn, they really need someone to communicate. Oh, their friend, the princess, is coming in. Don't worry, this is going to be perfect. She has the throat chakra. She can help their communication. Like, I think they need to, you need to show that they are not really a functioning team. Because like hearing about their fight with the dragon, it just sounds really funny and totally worth it. And I thought there was lots of really good jokes. Like, well, why can't you just seduce the dragon? Like, you have fauna magic. Like, doing that while they're in a battle. Like, keep all those jokes and funny interactions. And like, maybe, like, a dragon is, like... Because with comics, you have the great ability to do one-liners. Like, that is the beauty of comics. Because no one's going to stop and be like, why is he stopping the talk? Because comics are already kind of stopped motion, so like it's implied that they're doing things while they're quipping. So like maybe the dragon's about to attack them and the one person's like, quick, seduce the dragon, use your fauna magic, and it's like, what are you talking about? And like they almost get hit because they're like so flabbergasted by like this stupid comment, like that is not how fauna magic works. And someone else is like, no, we gotta like focus and do the thing. Yeah, it's just a complete mess. I would love to see the breakdown of the team, and I think it might help you to do the hard thing, which is to actually think about your fight scenes while writing the script a little more. Like, I understand that it's good to do thumbnails after, but like try to break down the action beats that you need to tell the story within your script so that you can then work out your layout afterwards. Because you did a really good job with it when you were talking about the gun scene where she like fires off the gun and is doing funny things in the background. But I think you need to like take the plunge and write the action down that you want to have happen, so that you can then turn it into thumbnails. I hate doing it too. Like I before 9 point, like I never wanted to sit down and describe action. It was just like action happens and then let's talk about it. It's like you have to weave them in together. Yeah. Yeah, I was a little intimidated by fight scenes at first, but I did it with the second chapter and I'm more comfortable. Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, I'd start with action. When you have a very what sounds like it's going to be, well, you just have a really fun a concept behind it, and it's very action based. Like you have an action based combat school. Like lean into it. It's kind of the same thing I was saying with V with their script. It's like you have dance sword fighting. Like show the dance sword fighting. Like come on, let's do it. Okay, like lead with your action because it'll definitely bring in everything that you want. Like you have to kind of marry things a lot more. And another thing, there was a lot of info dumping too. There was a lot of long paragraphs, and I don't think you need all of it. Like I think you need to distill what the reader needs to know up front and get that across, and do it a little more slowly, or at least chop it in a bit more. There was a funny moment. What was the spinach thing? Because like there's a saying I learned from like Brandon Sanderson, which is like world building is like your spinach, where like you make green smoothies out of it. Like you hide the wholesome like the wholesome like the whole food greens that your kids don't want to eat in a smoothie, and then you're like, oh, it's just cool, it's just a smoothie, like drink up, it's delicious. And I at some point I was like, this is just too much spinach. And then Ursula was continuing to read out loud, and something happened. I don't know what it was.
I think I said something like, I think the line in the story was like, especially now during like our time of war or something.
Yes.
So I was like, oh,
I was like, this is too much spinach. And yeah, and then Ursula was continuing to read out loud because that's how we reread it. And I was like, this is too much spinach. And Ursula was like, especially now during our time of war. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, you're reading the script.
It was fun.
Action's hard and super rewarding. Yeah. Like chop up your world building into your fighting, and then you can go after during the fight show off like what the chakras can do, but afterwards then you can describe it a bit more and have them discuss, but like give people the action first. Yeah. Is there any other questions you have? Because I think I did good. I'm gonna give myself an A+ on my critique.
On the backbones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one place where you did like it's not world building, but like character stuff kind of like really seamlessly compared to like some of the more info dumpy spots was when she calls Quince and
My dyslexia My dyslexia kept reading Quince as quiche. Like that's entirely me. But like if I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, when she calls she calls Quince and Thorn, I think is the boy, the fire boy.
Yeah.
They're just talking because they know each other, and like up until that point we didn't know they knew each other, but then it's like, oh, you guys are friends, and like that was a really nice like setting up their backstory without sitting down and saying like they've known each other for this many years and blah blah blah.
Yeah. In my mind, I'm like, they're gonna be like, oh, we're getting a new teammate, and they're like, oh no, we can figure it out together, and then like it's revealed it's the princess, and they're like, oh my god, you're here.
Yeah.
They're like, you finally got in. You finally convinced your dad. It's like perfect, like set up for world building. Yeah,
Totally.
You're just good. Oh god, now I'm hungry. Thank Bones. No problem. Well, I guess we can leave. Like, if you have no more questions, we're gone. Everyone can go eat. I made French toast this morning.
It was delicious.
Thank you. You picked good bread.
Thank you.
It feels like such a neg.
Right? Good job, Ursula. You picked the good.
That was really
bread.
helpful. Thank you. No problem. Send me your scripts, kids.
Send me your
Kids.
scripts.
I'm gonna make fighting scene good but not overwhelming. Well, that's writing, isn't it? Depends on what you mean. I'm not answering writing questions, but I'll do it one day.
Mm-hmm.
When your wife picks the good bread.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm just ready to leave. I'm sorry. I'll answer
Okay.
questions about writing in another stream.
Alrighty. So thank you guys so much for coming. I hope this was all informative and helpful and lovely.
For a stream not found.
And we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Is the stream over?